NASCAR's newest commissioner talks about the future of Fontana, Joe Logano, and Ross Chastain not happy with each other, and what does the future look like for Throwback Weekend? Let's talk about it. Yo, what's up, everyone? My name is Jed. Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Line. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Before we jump into any of our three stories that we'll be discussing, if you haven't already, don't forget to leave a like and comment down below your thoughts on any of the stories we'll be discussing in today's episode. Let's first talk about the future of Fontana. NASCAR was last time there in 2023. We do know that it's being taken down. I mean, NASCAR sold a large portion of its land for like $440 something million. And we've heard very little about what the future of NASCAR in Southern California, specifically in Fontana, looks like. They were discussed about building a short track. Well, NASCAR's newest commissioner, Steve Phelps, was on the latest episode of the NASCAR Hall Talk podcast and talked about those things.
What the future of that particular facility is, I'm still unsure. Would I like to build a new facility at Fontana? I would. And I think, having, it would be a short track because we don't have room for anything else, frankly. And do I think creating a short track out there would be a cool thing for us? Yes. With that said, it's $300 million to build that facility. Is that the best use of that money? That is the big question. The cost of capital right now is still really high. So for us to just press pause right now is essentially what we're doing. Trying to be as transparent about that as possible. But yeah, I'd love to build a facility out there. When that is going to happen, or if that's going to happen, I don't have a timeline.
Honestly, the perfect way to describe this is something that Dontre Graves said on Twitter, and he said, this is like when you're dating someone and they're going to break up with you, but not before they find someone else. I think that's the perfect representation for that. The longer I see this, the longer this drags out, I don't think NASCAR is racing in Fontana. I just don't see that happening. I mean, when you hear what Steve Phelps said, it costs more than $300 million to build it, to properly build it. And that's not even including maintaining it as the years go by. We know how expensive owning any piece of land is in Southern California. So I think when you look at from a financial aspect, I do believe that NASCAR, they want to keep Fontana. They do. I genuinely believe that they do. I know some people are saying, they don't care about Fontana. I think they do. But you also have to look at it from a financial perspective. And this is where I'm going to side with NASCAR a little bit. Them pausing it because they need to know, okay, is this the right investment? I mean, they're already spending tens of millions of dollars on Chicago. They're already looking at international. They're looking at Mexico. They're spending a lot of money there. They can't not just look at Fontana and think, because it's a fan favorite racetrack, we have to keep it. I'm pretty sure NASCAR was losing tens of millions of dollars keeping Fontana afloat before they eventually had to sell a large portion of that land. And I honestly believe when you look at the landscape of Southern California, I think from NASCAR's perspective, it would be financially better to do what we've been hearing rumors for quite some time, and that is to build a temporary street course in San Diego to replace Chicago in 26, rather than trying to build or maintain a actual racetrack like in Southern California. From a financial perspective, I just don't see how this could possibly work. So yeah, I understand why maybe some people are mad at NASCAR for why did you take it down in the first place? What's the point of this? I think you have to take a step back here and look at it from NASCAR's eyes, from a business perspective's eyes. Having that large of land in Fontana for so many years, they were losing money. I think it's obvious. They were losing so much money. And I think they want to have a market. That's why they're trying to maybe see, maybe let's have a short track. Less land you have to deal with. It would be cheaper, right? Well, again, then you have to look at, the market price is getting higher and higher in Southern California. It just wouldn't make sense financially. I know people are going to be pissed at NASCAR, and I will be fair. I will call balls and strikes. I will call how I see it with NASCAR. This is a situation where NASCAR, I don't think of them as the bad guy in this situation. I think they're trying to be able to figure out how to make Fontana work. But I think when you look at the facts and when you look at the numbers, it just doesn't make financial sense to do it right now. And I think it would be best to do option B, would be to have a temporary street course in San Diego. Next that we're going to talk about is Joey Logano and Ross Chastain. Two of NASCAR's biggest wrecking balls are going after each other. So this is stemming from last Sunday at Martinsville, where Joey Logano was hit by Chase Briscoe, spun around. He was able to rebound though to get his first top 10 finish of the season. But afterwards, he was not mad at Chase Briscoe, rather at Ross Chastain. He said, quote, "It was just kind of like a pick 'em off one at a time kind of thing. And then Ross just sticking it in a tight spot. He did it to me on the restart before. I can't even blame Briscoe for shipping him. I think he got himself in a bind trying to ship him. He just races like a jackass every week, and I keep paying the price. I'm sick of paying the price." So according to Logano, it was Briscoe that was trying to wreck Chastain, but ended up hitting Logano. Well, earlier today, Chastain, when he heard about Logano's comments, was not too happy about it. Saying, quote, "I'm confused by what he said. I haven't heard since he got out of the car and had time to cool down and look at it. I don't believe that Briscoe was trying to get to me. I don't think that. I would hope that he looked at it and had a little clearer mind. He's a 3-time champ. He can say what he wants, but those words have a lot of weight, and to just get out and spew that, call me those names, is not appreciated. Not warranted, I don't think." All right, so this is very interesting when I hear drivers, especially these two drivers, kind of how they are talking about the situation, because I think we can all agree that when it comes with racing drivers, they're hypocrites. usually they're hypocrites, where they don't like when a driver does something, yet they have done the exact same thing. I think every driver is guilty to some degree. So I find it very interesting to see Logano be the one that is saying stuff like this when he literally is the exact representation of what Chastain is right now. I would argue that Chastain and Logano are the same people. They drive the same. They do things that can be amazing, but they also do things that is like, what is wrong with you? So to see Logano, or to hear Logano talk about Chastain like that, is a kind of bit like, dude, don't you do the same thing? Because there are plenty of examples, and if we can go through Logano's history. We'd be here all day talking about Logano's incidents and tactics that he does against his competitors. Not saying he's wrong, but it's like, right message, different messenger. Because Chastain, although he has calmed down, maybe calmed down a bit too much in 2025, 22 and 23, early parts of 23, he was like that, very erratic, where he could do some great things, but also push the line or went over the line way too often. Overall, as a fan of racing, I'm excited to see what they can do, what happens to them on the racetrack. I don't know if it's going to be a really heated battle, but I won't be surprised if I see Chastain in Darlington on Sunday maybe race the 22 a little bit harder, or vice versa, because these are two drivers that race with a lot of heart, with a lot of grit, and they will show it out on the racetrack. So when you have two drivers like that are not too happy with each other, it makes it much more difficult for fans of the 22 and fans of the 1, but as a fan of racing, I'm all for it. Finally, let's talk about Throwback Weekend. It is this weekend at Darlington, but I want to talk about the future of NASCAR Throwback Weekend, because I do feel like that it's nearing its end. When this was first announced in 2015, every single car, every single team sponsor, they went all out with it. I mean, it was amazing to see, and it remained like that up until around maybe 2020, 21. But ever since the next gen, we have started to see a slow decline of these throwback schemes. 2022 was around 22 to 23 cars. Same thing with 23 cars participated. 24, 21 cars participated. But now in 25, only 16 Cup cars will be having some form of a throwback scheme. And I've also been seeing as of late, when they do announce these throwback schemes, it's more lazy. I mean, I look at Chase Elliott in his Ken Schrader throwback. That looks nothing like the throwback to Ken Schrader. I mean, you would have no idea. There are some that are very, very good, but I do feel like there is not only a lack of throwback schemes that are coming up, but the effort into these throwback schemes is getting less and less, I feel like. And I'm just worried that I believe that maybe 2-3 years down the line, we could see throwback weekends slowly become extinct, at least at the Cup level. Clearly at the Xfinity level, they're going all out. I mean, I'm seeing way more Xfinity schemes, and they do a masterful job. I look at Alpha Prime Racing, that Kodak number 4, beauty. The number 44, throwing back to Jeff Gordon's Looney Tunes 2002 car. I mean, down to even Brennan Poole himself looking like a Looney Tunes character. Absolute genius. That is what we want to see when it comes to Throwback Weekend. And when it comes to the Cup Series, it just feels like there's like a lack of care. It just feels like teams are kind of forced to do it rather than they doing it out of care. Some teams, they would love to do it, but I feel like the sponsors have such a role. They play such a factor into it, and I just don't understand. I mean, part of me does. You want to keep the brand the same. You want to, be as, you want to pop out as much as you can. But I would then argue that, look at the attention that Kyle Larson's getting with his Terry Labonte throwback scheme, that Kellogg's car, with the stripes on it. I would argue that would get way more attention and way more camera than, for example, RFK Racing, where they're just having like the casual, the Fifth Third Bank, and some type of Kroger sponsor for Ryan Priest. Nobody's going to really care about that. Nobody's going to really put the cameras on that. But they will put the cameras on, like I said, Larson's scheme. They will put the cameras on, and even William Byron's scheme with Gordon's 2015 Final Ride Throwback. They will put more of a camera focus on that because it is a cool throwback. So on one side, I get it why sponsors don't want to do it, but at the same time, it's like you're missing a huge opportunity to not only embrace NASCAR Throwback, to embrace the history of Throwback, which will relate more to the fans, but you do get more camera time. So I don't get it. And I do worry that we will see a slow extinction of NASCAR Throwback. I don't know. I've heard some people say maybe instead of doing it every single year, you do it every 3 years, every 5 years, maybe break it up a little bit. And maybe that's what they have to do to keep it alive. But I don't know. I love seeing these throwback paint schemes. I just love seeing teams embrace it. And to see it kind of slowly fade into a non-existence, it is sad to see. But what do you think about NASCAR Throwback Weekend? Do you still care about it? Do you think that it could maybe go away? And what are your thoughts on Fontana's future, NASCAR's future at Auto Club Speedway, and Logano and Chastain going after each other? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. Until next time, my name is Chet from MDK. Thank you so much for watching. See y'all next time.